disparity in the two candidates there. All right, a new poll also shows that most Americans are unhappy with the federal government's handling of illegal immigration. In fact, 6 out of 10 say that they disagree of the federal government. The poll didn't say the president, it said the federal government. Nonetheless, only 29% agree with the poll. But nonetheless, this is some new information. Congressman Bilbray has been making the circuit this morning on some of the morning shows and talking about this very poll. He's joining us right now on the phone. Good morning.
And, Bridget, honor to be with you again.
Well, it is good to hear from you as well. And this poll obviously sort of confirms what a lot of people have been saying, and that is we're not really comfortable, a lot of people, with the immigration policy that we now have in place.
Absolutely, Dan. And look, when we got Harry Reid talking about amnesty while 72 illegals are slaughtered by the cartels, when you've got the Chamber of Commerce and a lot of people in my party not willing to say, look, the number one source of illegal immigration is the illegal employers. When you've got $600,000 a year estimated by the local hospitals just in San Diego County, saying that $600,000 is what it costs them to provide free service to illegals in San Diego County. The mixed messages that we're sending from Washington, obviously people listen. And I guess the real message here is this poll shows Washington, you're not as smart as you think you are, and the American people are on top of this. Unless the Republicans are willing to tell their friends who are hiring the illegals that you're not going to continue to do this, it's not sustainable, as we say in the environmental community. And the fact is that the Democrats have got to tell their buddies, no, we cannot reward you with illegal immigration. We got to stop sending those mixed messages. Now, Dan, Bridget, what the problem with this poll is that people now that want to give amnesty are going to use that to say, see, it's not the illegals' fault, so we ought to give them amnesty because it's our fault. And so what they'll do is find the problem and then aggravate it by even proposing that the problem get worse as a way to answer the problem. Typical Washington is that they'll talk about amnesty, encourage people to come up here illegally. Then when they come up here illegally, they say, see, we have to do more amnesty because they're coming up.
Well, and one of the other problems, Brian, with Washington is they don't seem to be able to address the tough issues like immigration, particularly during an election year.
Well, and that's it. I mean, look, Harry Reid is actually a family friend. My brother and my cousins are very close to Harry Reid. But to pull up an amnesty proposal and to try to put it on a bill and slip it through at the last minute, that really was a cynical move that, even the people that support illegal immigration have got to understand that was a political, cynical move. Right. If you just do one thing, and I'll tell you, Dan, you've got a bill by Steve King that all it says is, it's the new ID bill, that if you want to deduct the cost of employing somebody as a business deduction, you've got to check that they're legally in the country. Now, how could any Democrat or Republican oppose that? This is a bill that everybody should say, to heck with the party, to heck with the special interests. As Americans, we should stop employers from being able to write off the cost of illegals. And if we're not willing to do that in Washington, we don't have the right to ask the American people to trust us with things like a whole new wave of amnesty. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for chatting with us. Obviously, this is a huge issue and a lot of emotions and a lot of aspects to it. Before we let you go, are you ever going to address immigration?
Yes. In fact, I'll tell you something. I think that the one thing, Dan, that we've got to say is in January, if the American people put the Republicans back in the House of Representatives, as a chairman of the Immigration Reform Caucus, I'm going to use the Steve King idea bill as the standard. Don't say that you're for securing our borders if you're not willing to crack down on the people that are hiring illegals. And as a Republican, we've got to tell the Chamber of Commerce that, look, we'll support you in a real guest worker program for ag, but we cannot continue to subsidize you exploiting poor illegals that are dying at the border by the hundreds while the American people and the people of San Diego are getting stuck with the price tag. And I think if Republicans aren't willing to stand up in January, once the American people it looks like they may trust us in the House, if we're not willing to put that to a vote, if the new speaker isn't willing to put that to a vote, I think that as chairman of the Immigration Caucus, I've got to put the heat on and say, forget it. Don't come to us and claim to be for securing our borders because you're not willing to crack down on the number one source, and that's illegal employment. Okay. And for God's sakes, let's stop talking about rewarding illegals with amnesty. That's both sides are guilty on that side. Remember, George Bush was right there with Kennedy doing that stuff.
Yeah, you're right. All right, Congressman Brian Bilbray, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, and I look forward to getting home. And I know it's hot in the air, but I bet you, Dan, it's still cold in the water.
60 degrees and about 4 to 5 feet today.
Oh, well, 60 degrees is a lot warmer than it has been. God bless you. I hope to get home this week.
All right, we'll see you then.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.